Good morning, everyone. Oh, I should turn the light on. I think you guys can see me well enough. I went out yesterday. We had a power outage. And so I went over to the barn, took care of everything. And it's nice. It's nice. It was light enough. Yeah, I'll say yesterday. And no problem. I just had both sides of the barn open. I could see plenty. And then I went for a walk. Well, one thing I went looking for our second pig. Toot's been missing now for quite some time, and yeah, they're getting old, those girls. And I didn't see her anywhere, so I have no idea where she is. It's so big here. Yeah, she could be anywhere. And right now, they love acorns. And I ended up picking up a bunch of acorn. By the way, if you have those, you want to do a little craft with your children. See, you can take one of these, the little crowns on an acorn. You see, like this. Yeah. Isn't that a head with a little hat? Whoops. What? And then just attach a little body underneath. I don't know, with toothpicks or something. Aren't they cute? You make a bunch of those for your children that are old enough to not eat the whole thing, okay? And they'll have fun playing with just that. Just takes a little glue and yeah, anyway. So many wonderful things out there. But while I was up there, I saw one of our horses. I'm going, what are you eating up here? Sure enough, he was eating the acorns too. So the piggy's been up there eating the acorns with lots of oak trees here, and they're bearing. See, that's an acorn right there. Yeah? They can eat them. Their system can digest what is in here that we as humans can't. We can't eat those raw. They have to be, I want to say again, it's called capsaicin or something like that. There is something in here that we have to, it has to be processed properly, right? Yes. And of course, our native population here knew how to do that perfectly. And thank God there are still videos out there to show how to do that, right? Yes. Have I ever done it? No, not yet. But flour is getting, they say that's one of the staples, might be. I'm going, yeah. I've heard that so many times. You know, with this stuff, it's kind of like one has to remember that everybody kind of is part of the wheel of the circle of life everywhere. And when you tell me that you can't grow food because you don't have your fertilizer, what kind of fertilizer? Okay, the poisonous stuff or the the stuff that's when it comes in a bag in the store. There's a lot of fertilizer out there that people don't make use of. That's a natural fertilizer. Right? Yeah. Well, anyway, so what, you can't grow anything now because you don't have. Well, that's one reason is because it used to be that farmers, I don't know, I have to tell you honestly, I'm not too, haven't looked into and how people farm out there, big farming and all that, but I do know that it used to be that you had at least three fields on which one that had just been used, you don't use at all, right, and just let revitalize, right? Then you had one that is gets fertilized in a way, that's already okay, and then one that you use right for the next crop. That's kind of how it used to be. Did people have less? Oh, sure. Did they have enough? Yeah, absolutely. So, well, interesting to think about all that stuff. But anyway, in order to be able to make acorn flour, right, like the natives did here, right, maybe still do, I don't know, you have to process them for people to be able to consume them. How did they know that, right? How did they know that you can't just eat those? How was it handed down? Most likely because somebody says, oh, look, they're nuts. You open it up and eat it and go, bleh. First of all, they're very bitter if you just put them in your mouth like that. And and maybe someone got sick. I don't know. I don't know how sick you get if you eat those raw. And then somehow, well, the necessity was there. Well, let's try and boil it down. Let's try and uh, Who knows, right? It's interesting, though, right? And how people discovered things, right? That was available in nature around them. Oh, so I did listen to another 10 minutes of the Quran. It's you can't just understand this by listening to it one time. I don't think you can understand it just reading it one time. I also don't think that you can understand it by just telling someone else telling you about it, right? One has to, when it comes to, I want to call it a spiritual book, right? Just like the Bible is, you have to go through it again and again and again. And with our own life experiences, this, that one, and, a real, right? Recognizing God. Just the first commandment, there's a reason for that. Why that is there, why that even has to be there, right? To stop the doubting, to stop just, I don't know. Things aren't going so well. Yesterday they went well. No problem believing in God, right? Today they're not going so well. So, yeah, I don't know. Is there really a God? Yes? Or vice versa. I'm having a really hard time. This now, well, I'm going to pray, makes you feel, it's amazing. That's proof right there. When people pray, ask for prayer, right, for their family, their self, the world, our nations, right away, something just writes itself. Right? There is a foundation to build upon. Right? Yes? Yeah. So, right there, too. But more often than not, we remember God when we're not feeling so well, which is good too. And we should always remember our Father in heaven, our Heavenly Parent, when we're doing great, right? Yes? Share the joy that we have in our life. Well, anyway. So it's the last 10 minutes, it was so packed with information. I'm going, there's no way I'm just going to get this, right, in one session. I'll have to go back and read it again. But I need to get more of a sense on where this is going. Uh, An other interesting thing I found is on how the Jews and the Christians are mentioned and the follies. And you can't disagree. But, and on how it seems like that the people of Islam, it seems to me like God was always looking for, okay, I got to prepare another people. They might actually fail. And reading through Genesis, you scratch your head. You go, man, right? Yes. Not like any of that is not happening now. Oh, okay. But we're supposed to learn from the Bible. Right? I remember Father Moon said that it's a textbook. Right? That you study it like a textbook, right? Yet you're going to come up with other things as well, where you're saying, but there's a better way, right? Or there is. Wait a minute, that's definitely not the right way, right? Yes, and there's a better way, and it always alludes to it. It's somehow in there, as I've mentioned in other videos, doing the Bible readings, and I kind of got a glimpse into the reason for why Islam really pulled back. The people of Islam really pulled back from anything else because of the warnings of you follow Allah, and no one else. Yes? And again, did the people of Islam really just follow Allah? Yeah. But and it's the same God. It's obvious. It says, in there, it's the same God. And we decide as people who we want to portray that God, right? Yes, yes, that's the truth. Well, anyway, so to pull back from it all, to stay true to Allah, the people of Islam had to do that, to not be influenced by the Jews or the Christians. Yes? Okay. Interesting. Of course, that I was just, I told someone, I says, hey, I'm reading the Quran, and it's kind of, kind of gave my Yeah, just keep reading. Yeah, I'm going, well, again. So anyway, it was interesting. So then I went, the god of Nahor. Remember yesterday? So the god of Nahor was the brother of Abraham and the father of Laban. Uh, so and Nahor remained in Haran, whereas Abraham moved to Canaan. So Abraham followed God's. You need to move, but Nahor didn't and stayed. That's why they all ended up there. Well, it was a good thing, so that Jacob could go and have. That was his sanctuary city. Okay. Yet it seems that Nahor did have a relationship with God, hence the name God of Nahor. So it's the same God. The God of Nahor is God, is Abraham's God, is right. Yet again, interesting on how Rachel, idols, okay. Oh, what were those idols, and how did it progress from the God of creation, of everything, the God of love, on how, oh, we're finding what? So Nahor believed in the same God, but he took it into a different direction where there is already idols, statues made of something, right? That then Rachel was raised as a child as well, right? Yes, belief can be really, really strong, right? When you're raised as a child like that. And so interesting. But the God of Nahor isn't some other weird God. It's actually still our Heavenly Parent, our Heavenly Father. Right? Yet, it's already being distorted somewhat, which is interesting. Right? Yeah, well, anyway. So there it is. I went and looked it up, got my info. So, 32. We're on 32. You know, I'm going to need that light. It's still a little dark in here. There. Oh, well, hello. Oh, yeah, as I said, no electricity. So I went for a walk, collected that, went to check on the trailer in the back, and sure enough, the back door was open. I tell you what, you got to go after everyone, after everything, to make sure everything is... I wonder if God feels like that sometimes. Gotta go and clean up after the mess they have created again. Right? Yes. Coffee. That's a good one. All right. Genesis 32. Early next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and daughters and blessed them. Then Laban left to return home. While Jacob was going on his way, angels of God encountered him, and, on seeing them, he said, "This is God's camp," and he named the place Mahanaim. 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 It should be nice if they'd tell us what that means in a way, right? It might be. Otherwise, it could just say, "This is God's camp," and he named the place after something. Okay, right. But, well, maybe I need to go and do that. That gives us a little more understanding again. Right? Yeah, just saying. But, in the end, again, how is God working here? Right? To leave, right? Even though, right, it was necessary to do it in the way Jacob did, right? Or he felt it was needed. God again said, okay, that disunity isn't a good thing. So I'm going to see if those two on neutral ground can figure something out. They did. He could say goodbye to his grandchildren, Laban could, and his daughters. Though, did he really care? Okay, I'm just saying. And so it was better that way. It was good. At least they left with each other with some cordiality. Yes. Jacob prepares for his meeting with Esau. Oh. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in Seir, the open country of Edom, with these instructions. Say this to my lord Esau. Oh, he calls him my lord. You got to know when you need to be humble, right? Regardless. Here is the message of your servant Jacob. I have been staying with Laban and have been delayed there until now, 20 years. And I own oxen, beasts of burden, and flocks, and men and women slaves. Well, that's important, isn't it? Yep. Oh, that just gets me every time. It gets me every time. I just don't understand on how. And then maybe, in the way, men and women slaves are, what about? And I have my own little nation going or something. Or I'm bringing all my relatives, my kin, and anyone that works under me, kind of thing. Why can't it be said like that? Is slaves just a word that describes everyone? Of course, we know the word slave's it's just an ugly word. It's an ugly word. It has a ugly history, and there's nothing good about the word slave. Nothing. Absolutely nothing good. And I feel like this is something. How about we acknowledge that? Hurt feelings from the past of people who never had anything to do with it. That's silly to me. But, and then, what do we still have going now? How about we concentrate on that? Yes? No? I saw, just quickly, I saw a little clip of what's going on in New York City with them biker gangs and bike gangs and I don't know what, the four-wheelers in New York. Ha, 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 ha. Okay? And what they're doing. The people around them, there was a car they had surrounded while driving. There was a car, just an SUV, little SUV, no doubt, low income to middle income class family sitting in there, man or woman or both, with children maybe even, and they had circled this car, and it looks like on a part of a freeway, and that one guy even tried to open up. They made him slow down, even tried to open up the car. I'm going, if that is not a type of slavery that these guys are executing, harassing people like that, giving them no choice anymore, you'd be completely overrun. A gun won't save you either. I mean, it's like, that's being a slave to someone's behavior. And what are they doing up in New York City? What can they do now? What can they? That was just, as I said, many different types of slavery. The word slave, being a slave to someone, still very much exists. Not in the way as history had it, but it still is there. Right? And rather us concentrating on that and saying, yeah, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. Right? They're on bikes. They're on, right? Yeah, you would be sacrificing your car, right? Someone would be. But what if the other cars around said, heck, that's not going to happen, and start kind of crouching them in suddenly with their cars. You're a stronger person in a car than they are on their bikes, okay? What if they would have, okay, we're not going to let that happen. And other people would, and then if there would have been any kind of damage on the cars, people get together and say, hey, we're going to help you out. How about them rich celebrities, okay, who bail criminals out of jail, have a fund where, if people start fighting back, right, most likely nobody would have gotten hurt, because these bikers can't be that stupid to think that, exposed to whatever, the concrete, anything around them, they're not going to get hurt if they're going to get pushed off their bike, right? Or suddenly lose control over their bike or something. I'm just saying. Right? One doesn't have to be out there killing people, this and that, over whatever, but you can gang up on them just as they gang up on one of ours. Yeah, that's what I'm calling them, ours. Because that's them. Oh, look, I just put in the proper pronouns where they belong. Okay, all right. I just couldn't. I mean, hello? Anyway, so where is our attention when it really comes down to it on who's making whom a slave? On the freeway. Could have been a mom with children in the car, scared to death. Okay? What does it matter what doggone race it is? And we're just, again, well, didn't people in the past do the same thing? Well, okay. Oh, wow, that slave looks kind of a bit beat up. Why? Yeah. No, it's not my slave. No. Well, I don't believe in it, but hey, you know what? It's the same thing going on now. With everyone out there being harassed like that. Well, anyway, I'm just saying. Now here I'm going. I watched this in utter horror. Oh my gosh, what's going on in New York City? Well, anyway. I said, that doesn't mean you have to go out there suddenly now and start shooting around because you're a patriot of this country and you don't want that. There are other ways. Just say, okay, wait a second. They're on their bikes. I'm in a car. Right? Everybody watched enough of them action movies, right? Yeah, well, you could get hurt too. Well, you know what? That sometimes when you defend someone else, that could happen. But at least you're giving a message to these biker gangs and the motorcycle gangs and the four-wheeler gangs. I mean, hello? Is that even legal? It's not even legal here to ride on a little county road, but as soon as it is a state road, it's not even legal to drive on there. And they're doing what? And you're not doing anything? Yet you're still getting your speeding ticket. Oh, okay. All right. I'm just saying. What is this? Anyway. Okay. That brought me all from the slave thing. I try to understand people out there, not just don't. Okay? I don't. All right. All right. I send news of this to my lord in the hope of winning your favor. So if he would have just showed up on his own, with nothing, would have that gone well? No, he needed to show up with a lot of stuff, right? Yes? Yeah. At least that's kind of what one gets here. The messengers returned to Jacob and told him, we went to your brother Esau, and he's already on his way to meet you. There are 400 men with him. Oops. Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed. He divided the people with him and the flocks and cattle into 2 camps, thinking if Esau comes to one of the camps and attacks it, the remaining camp may be able to escape. Why didn't he just meet him all by himself? Take a chair and sit in the middle of, go out about a mile and sit half a mile and leave everyone just where they are and go out and say, if you want revenge on someone, take it on me, not on innocent people. But he was willing to sacrifice half of his stuff, half of his whatever. Okay. Jacob said, see? Right there. People so dumb out there that they can't, people so smart, inventing all this unnecessary stuff, but then they don't have the smarts to kind of figure out how to take care of certain things without creating bloodshed. Just saying. Jacob said, God of my father Abraham and God of my father Isaac, Yahweh who told me, go back to your native land and I will be good to you. I am unworthy of all the faithful love and constancy you have shown your servant. I had only my staff when I crossed this Jordan, and now I have grown into 2 camps. Oh, now it's the staff. He calls him the staff now. Oh, they become important enough, because I remember when he did go to Laban, he had his slaves with him. Okay. And now I've grown into 2 camps. I implore you, save me from my brother Esau's clutches, for I am afraid that he may come and attack me. mothers and children alike. Yet it was you who said, I shall be very good to you, make your descendants like the sand of the sea, which is too numerous to count. Then Jacob passed that night there. Oh, interesting. So let me just ask you this. Again, Jacob has doubts, absolute doubts, even though he believes that, well, I'm following God. I'm doing exactly what God wants, this and that. I have his promise of God. He got promise after promise after promise from God, just like Abraham did, or Isaac did, Abraham did, right? And yet, all that doubt. Oh, because danger suddenly is there. Right? Well, I sure hope you're going to protect me because, hey, you know, all scared. Huh? Why is he so scared if he didn't do anything wrong to begin with to his brother? Huh? Why is he so scared now? Why? Huh? Why doesn't he just trust God? God asked him to go back. What, to get killed? Huh? So Esau can take his revenge? What does God know? Jacob's just not willing to acknowledge God knows more. God is providing for me for sure. Why can't Jacob just have faith? Truly faith. And know things are going to go right. Things will go right. They're going to go according to whom? God's will. He doesn't have that kind of faith. Not only that, he's almost accusing God, isn't he? Huh? Because he's scared? Okay, just saying. From what he had with him, he chose a gift for his brother Esau, 200 she-goats and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes and 20 rams, 30 camels in milk with their calves, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 male. He put them in the charge of his servants in separate droves and told his servants, go ahead of me, leaving a space between each drove and the next. He gave the leading man this order. When my brother Esau meets you and asks, whose men are you? Where are you going? Whose are those animals that you are driving? You will answer, your servant Jacob's. They are a gift sent to my lord Esau, and Jacob himself is just behind us. Okay, that's a good strategy. Okay, that's not bad. That's a good strategy. Why not, right? Yes, yeah. Still, he's willing to put other human beings' lives at risk, right? Well, for what? So he's safer? And that's not right either, is it? Yeah? But it's a good strategy. Yeah? And in a way, well, anyway, I don't know. It's a good strategy. Yeah? It's not a safe strategy, but it's a good strategy. Bribing Esau. Oh, bribing people. Oh, what has come into being now? Bribing people. Got to have faith in God. You have to just have faith in God. All right. He gave the same order to the second and the third, and to all who were following the droves. That is what you must say to Esau when you find him. And you must add, your servant Jacob himself is just behind us. For he thought, if I conciliate him by sending a gift in advance, perhaps he will be well inclined towards me when I face him. The gift went ahead of him, but he himself spent that night in the camp. How did I just say? Jacob wrestles with God. That same night he got up and, taking his 2 wives, his 2 slave girls, and his 11 children, crossed the ford of the Jabbok. After he had taken them across the stream, he sent all his possessions over too, and Jacob was left alone. Then someone wrestled with him until daybreak, who, seeing that he could not master him, struck him on the hip socket, and Jacob's hip was dislocated as he wrestled with him. He said, let me go, for day is breaking. Jacob replied, I will not let you go unless you bless me. The others said, "What is your name?" "Jacob," he replied. He said, "No longer are you to be called Jacob, but Israel, since you have shown your strength against God and men and Huh. What? Who wrote this down? But Israel, since you have shown your strength against God and men and have prevailed. That wasn't God. I'd say your strength against Satan and men, but not God. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Then Jacob asked, "Please tell me your name." He replied, "Why do you ask my name?" With that, he blessed him there. Jacob named the place Peniel, because I have seen God face to face, he said, and have survived. The sun rose as he passed Peniel, limping from his hip. That is why to this day the Israelites do not eat the thigh sinew, which is at the hip socket, because he had struck Jacob at the hip socket on the thigh sinew. That's a weird one as well. That's the end of 32. Can you imagine? So here's Jacob, and he's facing a difficult task, really, when it comes down to it, because, again, how does one, after so many years, he needs to reunite with his brother. And he is guilt-stricken, conscience-stricken. He's afraid for his family, his children, to lose everything, even kind of accuses God of. So then he sends, first the droves out with the men. Surely, as a leader of his clan, that's a tribe, that's a big thing. Oh, I hope they're all good, they're okay. Probably worried about the goats and the sheep more than he did about the men, no doubt. Yeah. Okay, just saying. Then, so he spends the night there, right, on that place, and probably didn't sleep so well, worrying. Then the second night, he sends his wives, his children, and his possessions, right, all across the river, right? So he would be more or less facing Esau on his own. Then he sleeps all by himself. I don't know, do you have any men around him or not? I don't know, it doesn't say. It says he's all by himself. And he not sleeping well, right? Not sleeping when he has a dream. Yeah? You know, one can look at this any which way. Somehow the dream that he had made it into the Bible, into the other scroll, or someone wrote it down, so he must have told someone, right? I don't know. Or is it just a made-up story? We dream subconsciously a lot. Anything that we go through every day, when we lay down to rest and we go to sleep, our subconscious digests the day. Right? So, here, how often have you woke up with a crick in your neck? Ugh, well, you must have been fighting someone, right? So don't eat neck anymore now. I'm just saying. Or you wake up and you go, oh my gosh, what hit me in my back? After sleeping. Or you wake up and you stand up and you're going, ouch, must have been, I think I dislocated something while I was sleeping. That's our worry coming out. And we wrestle with that all night long. Oftentimes, yes. I believe Jacob was wrestling badly that night. We didn't get the name, though. It says later on in the stories who it was, but it doesn't say there. So again, is that just, well, we're going to make it an archangel who was wrestling with Jacob to make it a better story or something. Just saying. Jacob was very, very, very distressed during that time. He was stressed out because he didn't know how his brother would receive him. And again, he didn't know, hi Bo, because he didn't trust God 100%. Right? Yes? Well, anyway, so there we are. I know, I'm coming. You hungry? Okay, all right. Well, Jake's already out. I'm not letting you out with him. No. You have to go out the front yard and pee. Huh? You good with that? No, not really. Huh? I know. Mama's not here. When his mom is not here, he goes out there for hours and hours and drags everyone with him. When she's here, he only goes for a couple of hours, which is a bit more appropriate. I don't need no dog here that leaves for 11 hours. Well, what good are you then? Huh? Oh, hi, Jake. Oh, you're back. Oh, okay. Well, it's time to feed the crew. God bless you and protect you. And I will talk to you all in our next Bible reading.